Welcome back, guys. A bit of a different video today. We're not in the gym, we are in the kitchen. So I just came back from the grocery shop. We're gonna do some meal prep together. Let's see what's in the goodie bag. Some smoked salmon. You know what, I'm just gonna put things in the fridge straight away. It's just a bit easier. And we've got some pre-cooked rice. This is kind of for emergency, or if I need to get like a quick extra meal in. I've got some carbs that are really fast to make. Some olives and artichokes. I fucking love this shit. Doesn't matter how bland meal prep is, if you add this stuff to it, it just makes it so much better. It must be the Italian in me, I don't know what it is, but I absolutely love olives, artichokes, even pickles. I love that stuff, and I just think it makes food so much better. I've got some protein pots. These are like Danone, which is another Italian brand, but I just found them in Tesco. I thought they were pretty good when I tried them, and quite frankly, they just don't make my stomach upset, which for me, it's a huge win. Usually when I have like protein bars or anything that has polyols, it just really, it ruins me, to be honest. Essentially, polyols are non-digestible carbs, and because they're non-digestibles, then they upset a lot of people's stomach. We've got some bagels, cinnamon and raisins. These are also super good to get some extra carbs in, that you literally get like 50 grams of carbs in just a few bites. Like one bagel is about 50 grams of carbs. Like it's super easy to eat. Got some courgettes, which is pretty much the only veg that I eat. Again, I've got a pretty sensitive intestine, and I actually can't eat a lot of fiber. Even stuff like oats, I can have maybe 50, 60 grams. If I go over that, it's too much fiber for me to handle. So I usually have courgettes. I digest them really well, and I actually love the taste. I do have to cook them for a bit. I'll take you through the cooking process, but they work really well for me. These are Babybel Light. If you don't know about these, you need to know about these. No, honestly, these are crazy. You get like 5 grams of protein each and about 2.5 grams of fats. These are really good. They taste amazing. You can add them to pretty much any meal, and it's, you know, you have 2 of those and it's already an extra 10 grams of protein. Then of course, some chicken breast. I buy it already diced. It just makes the whole cooking process so much quicker. I don't have to I literally just have to wash it and put it on a tray and in the oven. I'll show you in a minute. And then some salmon fillets. Don't cuss me on this. I actually really like them. I like the way that, you know, they spice them up, etc. And again, they're super quick. You put them in the microwave, 2 minutes, not even that, like a minute and a half, and it's ready. You know, I am the kind of person that values efficiency a lot more than taste and anything else. But again, as I said in a previous video, I do eat pretty much the same things every day, and that definitely helps me with meal prep. It helps me with, you know, knowing what works for me. Whatever works in terms of taste and digestion, practicality, I just implement it and I keep it. Also got some 0% fat Greek yogurt. This is quick protein. I know the majority of people like the Phage one, which is basically a bit thicker, or the Skyr. Is that how you pronounce it? Skyr? I don't know. But I like this one. I actually like it a bit more runny. It has a little bit more carbs, but who cares? We're in a calorie surplus anyway. So we're gonna do some cooking today. I'm gonna take you through my process. We're gonna cook some chicken breast, some jasmine rice, veg, and then some mince that I already have ready in the pan, and that's what we're gonna be cooking first, while we have a little chat and we warm up the oven. I like to get this out of the way mostly because I don't have a lot of space on the hub. So I just smash it up, add some spices to it. See, I forgot to buy this. This is probably my favorite. I add it pretty much to anything. It's roasted garlic and pepper. I don't know what they put in it. It doesn't even taste like roasted garlic and pepper, but it's amazing. Let's see if there's any left that we can use. Not really. Otherwise, like oregano does it for me. Again, it might be just my Italian self speaking, but oregano is one of those spices you can literally add to anything and it just tastes pretty good. Another one is chili. Chili is also pretty awesome. If you like a bit of a kick, you can add it to literally any food. And chili is also a bit thermogenic, in case you didn't know that. So it raises your body temperature. Obviously it depends how much you have of it, but in a fat loss phase, it could be potentially useful. Okay, cool. We can start setting the rest up. So first of all, we turn the oven on. We also warm up some water so we can start boiling the veg and the rice. This is 500 grams of mince. The chicken is 750, which is perfect for 3 portions. I usually like, whenever I add chicken to my meal, it's going to be between 200 and 250 grams. I think anything over that, it becomes arguably too much protein all at once, but it's not even that. It's just becomes a bit too much to eat of the same thing potentially. That also depends on how many meals you have a day, by the way. It's only because I have between 3 to 4 meals, so I need a substantial amount of protein, like quite a big amount of protein every single time I eat. But you could potentially just have portions of 150, even 130. Also depends on your overall protein intake as well. Okay. So we're gonna wash courgettes. Arm workout earlier on. Same as, literally exactly the same as what I did last week. The numbers went up slightly in my French press, which was nice. My curls also, I did exactly the same as last week in terms of weight and numbers, but they did feel, they felt better. They felt, I don't want to say lighter, but slightly easier, which, you know, for me it's enough in terms of progression. You know, at the level I'm at, I'm not really expecting for the lifts to go up every single week, especially since I'm not really pushing my calories. Okay, so the mince is almost ready. Don't need to cook it for long. That's the beauty of it, really. So we can start putting the rice on as well. And then the chicken is gonna go in last, because it literally takes 10 minutes to cook when the oven is hot, especially when it's diced like that. The worst thing you can do with chicken breast is overcooking it. Literally, it's the worst thing you can do. Water is boiling. Water on the hob, and we slice the courgettes so they cook a little bit quicker. You could put the whole thing, but then I have to slice it when it's really hot and cooked. It's a little bit awkward. I prefer to just slice it before cooking it. And by the way, I am well aware of the fact that this is the most boring way to cook veg, is to boil them, but again, I need them to be quite soft. First of all, because I like them that way, but also because that's the way I digest them well. If they're slightly crunchy, that already upsets my digestion a bit. There you go. The mince is starting to dry up. It's basically done, so some salt to it. I usually add the salt pretty much towards the end of the cooking. Like back in the day when I was prepping for the competition and I had to measure my salt, then I'd have to cook everything without adding salt, to then add it literally just before eating it. But I got into the habit of adding the salt towards the end of the cooking process. This is done. Turn it off. Now we're warming up the water for the rice, and we wash the rice. Always wash the rice, just like the meat. I read online once that you're not supposed to wash meat before you cook it. I thought that was mental. Apparently for bacteria and stuff, you're not supposed to wash it, but should be the other way around, no? I've always washed it ever since I was a kid. So we add in rice. This should be about 250 grams. It's already weighed because it's just the last bit remaining. So I weigh the rest of it. I often get asked, should you weigh your food when it's raw or when it's cooked? And a lot of people get confused with that. Personally, I always weigh it when it's raw. I think it makes the most sense because then you know how much you're cooking, and depending how you cook it, it might be lighter or heavier afterwards. And so because it changes its composition to an extent, you want to know how much you're cooking before you're cooking it. So for me, weighing food after it's cooked doesn't make sense. Unless you're weighing it again to kind of make your portions, but at that point, you know, you can make the portions by eye, really. Even if you were to cook for an entire week, which I definitely don't advise on doing, otherwise food would just go bad. But even if you were to cook for, let's say, I don't know, 7 days, whatever, because you freeze some of it, whatever, you can make the portions by eye. Like, that food is gonna go down you, you know, at some point. If you have, I don't know, 120 grams on Tuesday and 130 grams on Wednesday, because you just split it by eye and it's not exactly correct, doesn't matter. What counts is the weekly calorie intake. Of course, you don't want them to be completely disproportionate from day to day, otherwise, you know, you might feel really hungry on one day and stuffed on another day, etc. And you might start compromising your performance and your energy levels. But when you split it by eye, if you split it evenly, whatever looks like evenly to you, then that's absolutely fine. So yeah, we're washing the rice now. I usually wash it 3-4 times until the water is completely clear. It's never going to be completely clear, especially if you use warm water. It's always going to expel a bit of the starches, but just as clear as it gets. Also depends how much rice you're cooking. Put this back. Moving this over here for now. Water is boiling. And you want to put basically double the amount of water for the amount of rice. This is not a rule. This is the way that I do it, which gets the rice really soft. I mean, jasmine rice is always soft anyway. Gets it the way that I like it. And then I don't stir it. I just leave it there until all the water is gone, all the bubbles are gone. That's when I know that it's ready. I can turn it off. I can stir it at that point, you know, while I'm putting the food in the containers. I'm pretty sure this is the way that you're meant to cook basmati rice or jasmine rice. You don't stir it. If you start stirring it, then first of all you have to stir it all the time, otherwise it gets stuck at the bottom. And also you basically break the grain, so you ruin it. So don't stir your rice. Listen to Papa Julian. Awesome. So the oven should be warm now. So the final step is to put the chicken in the oven. So I use these foil roasting trays. Honestly, they're a lifesaver. You just put in the oven. When it's done, you just throw them away. You don't need to wash them. I wash them first, but you don't need to wash them after. I think they're pretty amazing. The only thing is the size isn't huge, so depending on how much you want to cook, might be a little bit of a problem. Now we wash the chicken. It's exactly the perfect amount that I will cook. So this also saves me from having to weigh it literally out of the box on the tray in my stomach. That's the sequence. Now you can either use like a 1 calorie spray oil, or you can do what I do here, just extra virgin olive oil, tablespoon. You add it to it. Extra virgin olive oil actually isn't the best oil to cook with, but I really like the taste. And then I just add the spices, mix it up. Wash your hands, very important step, and chuck it in the oven. Usually put the temperature around 220, 210. You can set the timer on for 10 minutes, and then I check it if it needs a little bit longer. Let's put the mince, if I don't fucking smash everything. So again, that was 500. So I will put it in 2 different containers. That's some extra protein I'm gonna use. Exactly half and half. Given this is a bit fattier, I wouldn't add much extra fat to a meal with this. It's already cooled down. Put it in the fridge already. In yesterday's video, we talked about perceiving the friction, that initial friction, when you're trying to change your lifestyle or trying to pursue a different goal, and that friction, that resistance comes in. Of course, when you have the need, making the change is a lot easier as opposed to when you just have the desire, when you just dream to change. The dream usually stays a dream until it's a goal or it's a need. But rest assured, when you feel that urge, that need to pursue that goal and to make the changes required to fulfill it, to reach that goal, then you're definitely going to get your ass moving. In fact, I think the majority of the time when you see a lot of these incredible body transformations, or not just like physical transformations, but also just crazy life changes where people turn their circumstances around and they change completely as people and end up achieving amazing things. They're always driven by how uncomfortable they feel in the initial circumstance. You know, if I feel really, really uncomfortable in my body, that is going to create the urgency to make the change more than anything else. And this is why when we dream achieving any goal, it's usually not powerful enough to be able to make the changes without some planning involved and without some discipline. You know, people talk about discipline all the time. If you either need to change or you just love the newfound activity that is going to take you to your goal, you don't really need that much discipline. You either love doing the thing or you just really fucking need to change. That is motivation, is not discipline. And trust me, motivation is far more powerful than discipline. Contrary to what people say on the internet nowadays. Fuck motivation, you need discipline. If you've got motivation, real motivation, like a strong motive to move your ass, that is far more powerful than discipline. Discipline comes in place when you're not that uncomfortable with your current situation. That's when you need to be disciplined. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. And discipline means making plans, actually doing what you planned out to do, and do that consistently over time. And this is another thing that happens very often. You know, with the job that I do, coaching people in shape, I see this quite often as well. You might start with being in an uncomfortable position, and that again creates the need, and you start pushing and you start make things happen. But then you end up in a position where you're not quite there in terms of the goal that you wanted to achieve initially, but you're out of that discomfort. You're now starting to appreciate yourself and like the way that you look perhaps, or like the way that you feel. And so that level of discomfort is gone. And so the motivation starts to drop. And it's kind of a mind fuck, because you think, oh, I'm getting results, that should motivate me. And it does work for some people. In fact, to a degree, works for most people. But again, when we don't have the need, there's no urgency. When there's no urgency, discipline is required, because motivation will start to drop. And so what happens is that I kind of get in shape, get those initial results, and that's enough to not feel uncomfortable anymore. And so I kind of stop pushing. I stop pushing to the degree that I was pushing before. And so, yes, I might get, a little bit more results, but I might actually find myself feeling a bit stuck. And that is a tricky one, because you're going to have to find a way to reignite the fire. And usually I think that's when the love for the work that you're doing, the love for the activity, which in this case can be going to the gym and training, comes in place. Because if you develop a passion for it, it's going to be so much easier to keep going and to keep pushing and to get even better results. And that's why I talk about it on my socials all the time. When you get into fitness, especially as you're starting to get good results, find ways of exercising that you really enjoy. Get invested in the process, not just in the results, in the process. Because the more you get invested into that, and the easier it's going to be to keep going afterwards, even when you're starting to get more comfortable with yourself. 10 minutes. Should be done now. Definitely. Perfect. Perfetto. The rice is basically ready. Courgettes as well. In fact, we just turn them off. I use these containers from Tesco. Don't know why, but they're definitely my favorite. Must be the shape of it, I don't know. Not that it fucking matters where you put your food, to be honest. Well, actually, putting them in glass is supposed to be a lot better than plastic, which, to be fair, makes sense. Now I'm gonna drain the courgettes. So I can start putting the courgettes at the bottom and turn the rice off. Cool. Then I'm gonna put the rice and then finally we cut the chicken. This works so much better if you've got scissors. My scissors literally broke yesterday. Split evenly in 3 meals. I mean, you could just leave them diced if you want to. I just like to mix it all properly. It's a lot easier to down it when it's smaller pieces. It's funny, isn't it? Because even when it comes to bodybuilding food, we still have preferences. Even when you're not eating for taste, but you're eating for fuel, whatever the fuck that means. You still have preferences with how you like your food to be cooked, plated. Food isn't just fuel. We connect a lot of emotions and even feelings to certain foods and the way that we eat. I think proactively taking care of what you put in your body, the way that you eat, whatever that looks like to you, whatever that means to you, it's such an important and empowering thing to do. That's it. Now we drain it, we fold it, and we throw it. How easy is that? I think I've kept you here enough. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, and if it's the first time watching one of my videos, I'm recording a vlog every single day for a year straight. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.